Look guys, scalping was really hard for me until I found these 5 rules that helps me to become a super scalper. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you these top 5 scalping rules that I use to scalp the market every single day. Now if you love scalping and want to be a super scalper, then this video is right for you. I'll request you to watch till the end to see how I use these 5 scalping rules in my scalping strategy to make my scalping profitable that I use every single day. Now before I begin, as usual, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done yet. This is Forex Wizard from Forex Trading Wizard Academy. With that being said, let's get started. Okay guys, so the rule number 1 for scalping is never trade against the major trend. So what do I mean by major trend? I'm not talking about the let's say monthly or weekly trend when you are scalping. I'm talking about the higher time frame trend. Let's say you are trading on the 5 minutes time frame, then you must look at least 1 or 2 higher time frame trend to see which way the market is heading. Because even if you enter in the wrong place in your scalping trade, if you trade with the trend, in most cases you will find a place where you can at least close your trade with profit or at least break even. Now let me show you an example of what do I mean by this trading with the trend or not trading against the trend. So let's see this example, this chart on GBP, JPY. I love scalping this instrument. It's a highly volatile. Now, what you see then, let's say for example, this market has this impulse, right? Big impulsive move to the upside. This is 4-hour time frame, and I will not be scalping on the 4-hour. Neither you will scalp on the lower time frame, such as on 5 minutes or 1 minute. But the thing is that in what situation, which way you will be scalping. First of all, see, when let's say the market has formed this green candle, right? So once the market has formed this candle, that's a good place for going long in this instrument, because the market, the trend is up, right? It's impulse correction, it is in another impulsive phase. So in that market, never open a sell position because it's going up. Many traders might think that okay, the price has created a double top, okay, price at the top, let's sell. That's the mistake most scalper make, and that is why they lose money. Always trade with the trend, because when you see on the higher time frame, such as on the 4-hour, the price is bullish, okay, then try to find and buy entry on the lower time frame, so that if you are wrong, even you can have a good trade in most of the time. And that is how you can use higher time frame to give you the advantage in your scalping. So if let's say if you buy this, if you sell this market, then what will happen is that you might lose that. You see, the price came and then finally started to move up. So you can see that the price finally, after a pullback, it is in fact going up. So if you are scalping with the trend, that is where you can take the maximum advantage. Even if you are wrong, you still can hold the trade for at least going to entry or have some profit in it. So it is very important that you trade with the trend. This is the rule number 1. Scalping rule number 2, always trade in impulse, not in pullback. What do I mean by this? See, on the scalping, you always need to use at least 2 or 3 time frame. So if you trade with the trend, then in the higher time frame. Let's assume that you are trading on 5 minutes or 1 minute on scalping. Then you need to first look at the trend on the, let's say, on the hourly or on the 4-hour time frame. So on the higher time frame, there will be an impulse and then a pullback, and then impulse and then pullback. Okay, so do not trade on the pullback, always trade with the impulse. So what do I mean by this? Let me give you an example again how you can apply this rule. Let's come back to the same example. Okay, now you can see that GJ, okay, this is what we call an impulse. When you see GJ going in an uptrend, creating series of higher high and higher low, okay, going in an uptrend. Now what you have seen that GJ after this impulse, okay, this is what we are calling an impulse, it is creating a smaller candles. So that smaller candles in fact a pullback. So when you scalp, always look at which phase the market. Is it an impulsive phase or in a pullback phase? So for example, when this candle, this green candle is forming here, okay, it closed, you know that this market is in a pullback. How do you know? Because you have already seen one big move followed by smaller correction, and it has created another big candle. That means that it is in an impulse, not in pullback. But if you see that the market, let's say, created these two candles, okay, two narrow candles. All right. Now when you saw these two narrow candle, what you can say that this market in a pullback. So let's say big impulse happened, now pullback. In that situation, do not open any trade, either buy or sell, because you don't know yet this pullback is over or is still remaining. If you can't guess, you might think that okay, back to back two dodges form, now it will go up. That's a guess, but in fact the other way around. If you replay this chart, what you saw that the next one came back down again, and the next one again came back down. So you don't know when the pullback is over. If you trade in the pullback, then you will be trapped either in a sideways market on the lower time frame, or in a very difficult situation, because this is the higher time frame. You will be scalping in the lower time frame, but do not open any position in the lower time frame when the market is in a pullback in your higher time frame. But if you keep waiting, let's say you have seen that now you have seen the market in a pullback. Let's say you have seen this candle, big wickless candle, right? So that is where you can see that big impulse. Now you can find a buy position in this market, because this market here you see back to back bigger candles mean it is in fact in an impulsive phase. So in that impulsive phase on the lower time frame, you can jump onto, let's say, 5 minutes time frame, and you can find an entry. You can see the price on the 5 minutes as well is now creating a trend, and then wait for the price to come back to the previous resistance, turning support. And if you replay this chart, you can find an entry. You see these big candles are in fact a good entry points for bullish setup, and you can see that the price in fact has gone up with an aggressive move. So this is the rule number 2. Scalping rule number 3: always find a false breakout candle on a major level of support or resistance. So what do I mean by this? Let's say you found a market that has a support or resistance on the higher time frame, let's say on the 4-hour time frame. Now once you found that support and resistance, wait for the lower time frame, such as on the 5 minutes or on the 1 minute, whatever time frame you are scalping. Wait for price to penetrate that support and resistance, invade that level, create a false breakout, and then wait for a strong rejection from the zone for a very, very high probability scalping setup. Now let me show you an example What do I mean by this? Let's say this example on US 30. Okay, what you see that US 30 has created a very strong level of resistance zone here. You can see that there's a very strong level of resistance here. Okay, resistance here, acted here as resistance, and then the price opened with a gap and then has gone up, right? So it's a very strong level of resistance. Once you saw this price is going up, what you are waiting for an entry. Let's say you want to enter this market, okay, when this price was moving in this direction, you know that there is a gap opening and there is a high probability that this price will come back down here and will test and will go up. So when you are scalping, what you need to do, you need to wait for the price to come back and then had a strong rejection. Now this is the 4 hour. Let's say, how do you in fact trade this candle? Let's jump onto 5 minutes time frame and to see what happened. Now you can see that we have drawn this level of support zone here, which is resistance zone acting. Now if you adjust this level on this gap opening, what you can see that in fact there is a gap opening here on the lower time frame. You can see on the 5 minutes. Now once you saw that this price has gone up, what you need to do is wait for this price come back here, and this is where you see that the price has penetrated this gap level completely. You can see that it's a clear invasion of this previous resistance level, very strong level, and you can see back to back 2 long wick candle on the 5 minutes has been created in this gap, and that is where the perfect entry point. It's a major level of resistance. As you can see in the past, this is a resistance here, and also there is a gap opening, which is in fact a very strong level of resistance, and from that resistance we have seen back to back 2 5 minutes candle has been rejected with a long wick candle, and that is the perfect entry for scalping, because you know that this level in the past respected, now this time already invaded twice. So the buyers are very strong in this market, and that's a huge high probability long setup. Stop loss below this low, you can take a big profit on this trade. So that is how scalpers become profitable, by buying from an important area of value. Okay, so the fourth scalping rule that I use to scalp the market is never unattend a scalping trade. I try not to ever unattend a scalping trade, because when I'm scalping, the stop loss may be very tight, and in most cases I use sometimes mental stop loss, which is many scalper does it, because in scalping, as you know, that a couple of people stop loss, and for a little slippage we could be stopped out, which could be a winning trade. But I would recommend that if you are new, then must use a direct stop loss. But for an experienced scalper, sometimes use a mental stop loss, and in that case I never unattend a scalping trade. I always watch that scalping trade until I see a profit target hit, or I manage the trade, or I see a stop loss hit or anything like that. If I leave an unattended, there is a big chance of manipulation is always happening in the market. Suddenly a news came out, market had a spike. If I leave the trade unattended, there is a chance of being a big loss. So that is why I never unattend a scalping trade. Now if you cannot attend a scalping trade, then I will say that you must manage the risk well before, and must use a proper stop loss, so that in case any news comes, you are not taking a big loss. The fifth and final rule that I use to scalp the market is never scalp the news. I know that many scalpers make this mistake. When there is a news, there is a big spike, and you feel like, okay, there is a spike, I'm gonna take this chance, I'm gonna open a trade, the price will go to profit, I'll close the trade with a quick profit. Do not chase a big move. It's very important. When the market is volatile, highly volatile market needed for scalping. But when there is a news, always stay away from scalping, because the market will move without any direction. It might just go up and down, and whichever way you are trading, you will be stopped out or you will blow your account. So always stay in a market that is volatile, but at the same time following the market structure. There is no high impact news, so make sure that you scalp either after half an hour news release or before high impact news release. I sincerely believe that this 5 scalping rule will be helpful in your scalping. If you still have any question, you don't hesitate to ask me. There is a comment section available. I do replay all the comments. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon in my next video.